Thank you, Jim. It really has been a remarkable year. We have so many great stories to tell, and it's really hard to just pick a few to bring to you tonight. We're training investigative journalists in Russia, citizen journalists in Malaysia, and multimedia journalists in Mexico. We're helping young reporters in Syria build a website to cover issues ignored by mainstream media. And we're helping reporters in Ghana to cover national elections. In our distance learning courses, we're reaching journalists in places we've never been able to work before, countries like Iran, Libya, and Yemen. In all of our programs, we measure our success by the impact we're having on journalists, on news organizations, and on societies as a whole. And I'd like to tell you about a few examples that really stand out. Let's start in Africa. ICFJ's flagship is the Knight International Journalism Fellowships, a program designed to improve the quality and free flow of news in the public interest around the world. We recruit the best fellows from across the globe to work in countries where there are opportunities to promote reliable, insightful journalists that hold officials accountable. Last year at this dinner, we announced that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation had awarded ICFJ a major grant to add Knight Fellows to improve coverage of deadly diseases and other health issues in sub-Saharan Africa. We're very proud of all we have achieved in the first year of the program. In Uganda, Health Fellow Chris Kante has created a service called Ask the Doctor, where Ugandans can text message medical questions to experts and get timely responses that are also published in the country's leading newspaper. His next project, mobile phone alerts on breaking health news. And in Kenya, our health fellow recently worked with a team of reporters at the country's largest newspaper to produce a series of stories on the poor state of public hospitals. Let's hear from the fellow Rachel Jones herself.
Hi, my name is Rachel Jones. I am the second Knight Health Fellow through the International Center for Journalists, funded by the Gates Foundation. And I want to tell you about an example of really positive early impact that the program and the training has been able to have. Even the government found that there were tremendous problems in public health hospitals in Kenya, issues like overcrowding and lack of services, etc. I felt that the Nation Media Group had an opportunity to send reporters into the various regions of Kenya to explore these problems, but to do it in a way that was different than any other coverage had been done. In other words, to tell the stories of how these problems affected real people's lives. And what we came up with was a series of stories that ran on September 22nd. The heading is Shame of the Public Health Service, but it essentially characterized all of the problems through a series of feature stories. The story centers on problems on things like overcrowding in maternity wards, women who were sharing beds, who had lack of access to care by follow-up care by doctors. In one situation, there were even women sleeping on the floor underneath beds in the hospital. The following day, the Kenya Medical Association made an official comment on our series and spoke about the need for the government to respond quickly and dramatically up to these problems. 2 days later, we were able to run a story that essentially said the Kenyan government had committed to spending $7.5 million over the next year to upgrade services at Kenyan hospitals.
$7.5 million, one series. Now that's impact. Rachel and her team are following up on the story to make sure that the government fulfills its promise. In all, there will be 13 Knight Health Fellows in the field, so imagine the impact that they'll have. Now let's move closer to home. Last month, we brought 50 international journalists to cover the final stretch of the U.S. presidential campaign. After an orientation in Washington, where the journalists learned about the Electoral College, exit polling, and campaign finance, they headed out to media organizations in battleground states. They attended rallies, interviewed voters, and watched how U.S. journalists covered the campaign. They filed hundreds and hundreds of print, web, radio, and TV reports, vastly increasing the world's understanding of the election, the candidates, and the way democracy works here. Abdullah Mohammed Juma, a newspaper editor in Tanzania, attended rallies for both McCain and Obama in New Hampshire. His country, a young and fragile democracy, is usually racked by violence during national elections. He recalls an eye-opening experience on the campaign trail.
It was very surprising when I went to Peterborough last evening, to see that to me, I expect to see only the McCain's rally, the McCain supporter, the Republican supporter. But to my surprising, I went there and I found, there's also the rally for Obama. I think the other side, which is the McCain side, they will ask those people to leave in their rallies, because that's what we have in my country. When the rally is for a certain party, the opposition party is not supposed to be there. And if it comes there, whatever happened to them is their own business, because they'll be beaten. But I think it's good, because I saw those people, they talk. So to me, what I learned from this is the people down here are politically matured, democratic improved, or democratic mature also. So I wish we can do such kind of thing in my country.
Multiply that by 50, and you get an idea of how much this program has led to a greater understanding of the U.S. and the democratic process. By the way, the Kane Sentinel in New Hampshire, which is run by the Ewing family, generously hosted Abdullah and another journalist, and that video clip comes from a documentary on their experiences made by Jim Ewing, our founder's granddaughter, Sophie, another example of how our founder's legacy still resonates with ICFJ. As you can tell, our training is very topical. We're helping Spanish language journalists in the United States understand how the financial crisis affects Hispanic communities in a program sponsored by McGraw-Hill. We're training journalists how to better cover natural disasters thanks to the McCormick Foundation. And we're sending journalists abroad from smaller U.S. media organizations to report on global stories of local importance thanks to the Ethics and Excellence in Journalism Foundation. Finally, last year we launched a global business journalism program at prestigious Tsinghua University in Beijing, and I'm happy to report that this program is attracting some of the best young minds in China, as well as increasing numbers of international students. We've added courses on economic hot topics and multimedia business reporting taught by a top-notch international and Chinese faculty. Thanks to support from Merrill Lynch, Knight Foundation, Deloitte, and Bloomberg, we're educating tomorrow's journalism stars in a country that matters more than ever. Here is one of them, Anna Zhou, in her second year of the Global Business Journalism Program.
Tsinghua is the top university in China, just as MIT or Harvard in the States. And in this program, we have students from all over the world to join us. Together, we have great time. We can discuss towards global issues, and we exchange our ideas. I think it's great to bring all students all over the world together in a big family. I had 2 months internship with Bloomberg this summer. During these 2 months, I learned how to write small stories for The Wire. We collect data and make graphs and getting quotes from people. Sometimes we go out on the street to ask people their opinion towards China's economy and their opinion towards the Olympics. And after the internship, I know how timeliness and accuracy is important for being a good business journalist. I learned a lot in this internship, and I appreciate these 2 months.
Indeed, ICFJ has helped create journalism education programs in Georgia, Armenia, Botswana, Ethiopia, Slovakia, and Mexico. And this year, I'm proud to say that we'll be establishing the first university journalism program in the fledgling democracy of East Timor. So I hope this gives you a good sense of what ICFJ does. We're practical, we're hands-on, we strive for quality and for results, and we do our best to make a difference in our profession.
Thank you, Joyce, very much.